Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started pretty soon. We see more folks coming into the room now. KJ, ready to go? Yeah. All right. So we'll start with quick introductions. My name is Adam Diallo. I'm a manager in our partner and product management group, specifically dedicated to the Microsoft solutions. I have been at CDW for 6 years and I've worn many hats during my tenure here. But now I lead a Microsoft team of pre-sales licensing, software operations, and solutions specialists, as well as our go-to-market staff that are all working together to ensure our customers have success with their Microsoft investments. And for this call, I'm joined by my colleague, KJ. KJ, quick introductions.
Hi, yeah, so KJ Burke, I'm a principal technology specialist focusing on hybrid cloud. And so I come by way of the Scalar acquisition to CDW Canada. The bulk of my tenure has been spent on the customer side. So most of my IT career has been, working within organizations, selling innovation and change inside of organizations. Been on the sales side now for about 4 years, and it's definitely different. But it's exciting to be here and talking to a bunch of customers. So definitely encourage people to ask questions in the chat, and let's try to make this as collaborative as possible.
Very cool. So in terms of agenda today, we'll start with just outlining some landscape elements, talk about, what's top of mind, what's been top of mind for our customers. CDW is recently recognized as an Azure Expert MSP. We'll talk about what that could mean for you. And then KJ will walk us through IT orchestration by CDW, highlighting the, how we support customers through their cloud journey. And then we'll wrap up with Microsoft program called AMP and talk about how CDW delivers it. So as KJ mentioned, don't hesitate to ask questions. If you look into the Teams meeting, you'll see a little chat box. Enter questions. Robert on the other side is going to help us monitor those questions and make sure we address them before we wrap up. So we want to ensure we come out of this conversation helping you grasp a good understanding of how Azure could help you implement some business continuity plans as your needs change, as you need to increase capacity, improve agility, and also specifically understand how and why use the CDW team as an extension of your staff, really leveraging our Azure expertise. So in terms of current landscape, it's been quite a year, right? It's been a year of change. Prior to 2020, digital transformation and cloud was a force of its own, but then the world was hit by a pandemic and we saw an acceleration of how customers leaned on us to land that business continuity. So home office became the new office. Not many companies were fully prepared for that. So we've had to help organizations provide the required tools and solutions to allow their employees to be productive. And this ranged from helping an organization move their file share to the cloud, to deploying Office 365, down to just training a healthcare organization on how to use Teams to really land productivity and collaboration. So enabling teams to work remotely from anywhere, an organization to rapidly adapt in the face of a crisis has been our biggest success story this year. So as we did that, we also saw IT budget be greatly impacted. Some companies spent less, some companies spent more, but almost pretty much everyone we dealt with had to spend on different things that what they planned in the beginning of the year. Data center management is also greatly changing. So the way we approach data center solutions has changed. I mean, KJ could talk about that a little more, but cloud became top of mind for many of our customers. And we saw some migration project that we'd roadmap with customers be fast track as we help those very customers ensure applications were accessible to their employees in a timely manner and in a secure manner. And since all users were not in the same location, user authentication had to be adapted. Customers needed to modernize their security posture to be in a better position of managing all the threats that came with all the changes we saw in our environment. KJ, anything to add here?
Yeah, I really think that this was, when we talked about priorities, our customers shifted priorities away from AI projects and value add projects for the business, and really focused on how do we help the business stay as productive as possible with the work from home. And there's been some interesting phrases sort of coined. The home enterprise is one of them, where, I think you're right, Adam, it's building security around the home office. It's making sure that you have data that's backed up. It's making sure that your users have access to their business critical applications, but that you're not extending that risk. And so one of the biggest changes we've seen is really around network patterns and how our users are connecting to the services that are critical to them. And most of our customers had optimized, from the office. And so once you move those 100, 200, 500 users from an office space into a home office, all of a sudden you're leveraging those internet connections and firewalls and Citrix services or Windows Virtual Desktop services much more heavily. And so that's where I think this cloud conversation is very relevant, and so I'm glad we're having this today.
Yeah. So those are all reasons why businesses are increasingly looking to Azure specifically to manage all the challenges we've seen this year. So Microsoft Azure has seen customers of all sizes leveraging public cloud to innovate faster, enable greater productivity, and become more efficient. And doing that with fewer upfront operational costs. And those are all elements that the CDW team can walk you through to better understand. So the need for business continuity during time of rapid change has made cloud a priority. CDW, for us, the cloud journey with our customers has been underway for several years. So today we manage well over $1 billion of Azure consumption. And we see that as an opportunity for our customers because between our key geos, the UK, the US, Canada, we leverage each other's learning to provide a clear path to and a very defined life cycle that we help customers through to achieve their goals. And that path is outlined on this slide that you see here. And so whether you're just starting, our team from a pre-sale perspective can work with you around the discovery, understanding, and defining what would be beneficial to your teams and your business. Around product, we could provide guidance. And if you know CDW, this guidance can be from a vendor neutral perspective. But again, around Microsoft specifically, we know the Microsoft program. We've had a long-standing relationship. And so we can tap into the program that best fits your business. Another change I'd like to highlight on the next slide is an acquisition of Scalar that happened in 2019. So we started off this year with a significantly expanded footprint across Canada. Clients that knew CDW prior, looked at us as a #1 solution provider that really had strong licensing practice and were known for operational excellence around Microsoft. But now we boast 9 locations across the country. And so as soon as we can get out again, you now have help that is in region, that can support you both from a sales perspective, but from a technical perspective too. The Scalar acquisition, or the joint force, is a joining of forces of 2 organizations that now allow CDW to have deep technical expertise, and that allowed us this year to increase our services portfolio tremendously. And so this means from a project services and from a managed services perspective, CDW could support our customers with badge resources that are capable around cloud, both from our SOC and NOC that are both, again, local to Canada, and CDW badge, which means you can just trust the organization you're working with, soups to nuts. So around those resources, and specifically around Microsoft, as you can see on this slide, we have deep expertise around Microsoft with dedicated resources from a pre-sales perspective, from a cloud solution architect perspective, and this extension of our portfolio of services that came with the Scalar acquisition translate into customer solutioning that is fast track, because we don't have to look to third-party organization for support. Our internal team boasts over 147 certifications around the Microsoft practice. So truly deep technical expertise that now your team can leverage to get to your business outcome quicker. And so what's new and different too, and I'm super excited about it, and kind of why we decided to have this chat with our customers, is we recently achieved a great honor with Microsoft by earning our Azure Expert MSP certification. This recognizes both the depth and breadth of our expertise, as well as the defined methods we leverage to support customers' cloud environments. So regardless of where you are in your journey, we have knowledgeable help to accelerate your migration to Azure. Becoming an Azure Expert MSP was a company-wide effort, and as I outlined earlier, we collaborate across international geos to share best practices, and this really showcases that. Microsoft themselves, like you see on this slide, a quote from Microsoft that calls out that when you see this badge, you could trust that there's been deep vetting that went into giving this partner an accreditation. There are only 75 partners worldwide that boast this certification. So we worked extremely hard to demonstrate our expertise around Azure solution that are now best in class, and we provide to our customers a consistent process and tools and skills that are supporting the delivery of complex solution based on Azure. We'll now talk through just the customer journey and how we engage, and KJ will walk us through what that cloud journey looks like from a CDW perspective.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. So really with this, I'm getting a bit of an echo there. Sorry. Wait, if you go back, I apologize. Yeah, so with this, really what we're trying to talk about. Sorry, I'm still getting an echo. Maybe Adam, if you
I can hear you fine, KJ.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting a weird feedback. Okay, so with the addition of the professional services organization, the managed services organization to CDW Canada, it brings a couple of things. And so one of those things that our customers can take advantage of is, our pre-sales organization and solutions architects that help customers do the initial design for solutions. And so it's less about the Microsoft licensing, as Adam spoke about, and it's really more about creating comprehensive solutions that solve your business challenges. And so some of the areas that we build on top of are, cloud instantiation and migration, where we're helping our customers build those landing spaces, build those initial services like Windows Virtual Desktop in the cloud, and sort of establish that footprint. We also know that not every customer is at the inception of their cloud journey. So maybe we are helping customers with cloud security and governance, and you're really trying to focus on providing maturity around your security footprint in the cloud and how those services connect back to maybe your internal services, or how your home users or your office users are connecting into those services. And then orchestration and automation. And one of the questions that came up via email prior to the session. I'll take a moment now to kind of talk about. So the question was really around how to leverage orchestration and automation to really, enable the migration to the cloud. And I think that one of the key areas that we help customers is when you want to build cloud native, when you want to establish services, it's best if you are building through templating and through automation and tooling services. And a lot of times it's a value if those services can really act both in your on-premises data center, your co-location, and in the cloud. And so we have pre-sale solutions architects that can engage with you and really start having those conversations about how do you automate and how do you optimize and really streamline the building of services in the cloud. How do you tie those services back into your on-premises data center if you haven't already, to continue to capture that value, regardless of where you're deploying services. But that helps people get started. And then we also have implementation services where we can help customers do those deployments. So again, depending upon there's all sorts of different tools in that space. There's certain ones that we focus on, but we can get into that in a different conversation track. Some of the differentiators where I think we provide value, above and beyond some of our competition is really around containers and microservices. So where you are trying to take workloads, you're trying to take applications, you're trying to, refactor them to service your internal or external customers in different ways. That's something we can engage on. Specialized applications. So if you really want to talk about, IoT or AI, and you're looking at taking advantages of services in the cloud, again, that's an area where we engage with our customers from a pre-sales perspective, as well as a post-sales and delivery of those services and solutions. And then app modernization. And I'll drill in on app modernization a little bit more as we, in a couple of slides. But really, the true payoff for migrating services into the cloud is building natively for the cloud and taking those applications and modernizing them so that you are taking advantage of, microservices where possible, and you're scaling as you need in the cloud, as opposed to having this very large watermark of services that are always on. But these are the 6 areas that we focus in on from a professional services perspective, pre-sales, and then also with managed services for customers that need those environments managed, over the life cycle of the service. So we also identified there's a couple of different categories that our customers are in. So the first sort of crawling to walking is more of the on-premises to the cloud, and that's where our customers are looking to establish services in the cloud. They're looking around, what is the security, what is the networking, how am I providing multi-factor authentication, how am I making sure that the footprint and the build is solid so that we're not increasing the amount of risk that we have when we do that. And that's where, the instantiating the cloud, we have, again, people we can bring in to talk about the architecture there, and then do services around the delivery and making sure that it's delivered in an optimized way. Governance and security, whether it's risk advisory services, whether it's security appliances, or even just configuring your cloud tenant in a secure manner, being able to do jump starts and pilots, POCs to quickly get services online, and then helping build a migration plan. And so with that, establishing the foundation, a lot of that is really focused in more as infrastructure as a service. But you still want to make sure that you're building, thinking of the future. And one of the ways I think that we differentiate ourselves as CDW Canada is really having the knowledge and the understanding of what you've been doing in your data centers. And so for customers that are in this, crawling into walking with the cloud, we have data center technicians that we can bring in, again, to help have that conversation of where are you at and how do you get services into the cloud, and make sure that those services are the right services that make sense for cloud consumption and the costs and the value that you're going to get out of that. And then we also have the security services. So again, if you are looking at having heterogeneous solutions where you are providing across those different environments, but maybe you're trying to ensure that technologies stay the same, you're trying to deploy the same type of security solutions and edge security devices, we have those resources in-house. So I think historically, in dealing with CDW Canada, you could have a very good deep conversation around Microsoft, and you could talk about what Microsoft has to offer. But in this case, we can also speak to where you are currently, how you can get to where you want to be, and then the technologies that are going to assist along the way. For the second area of maturity is really that hybrid multi-cloud. And that's more around, assessing and analyzing. It's more around real-time analytics, making sure that you have visibility into what your current spend is, what your current uptime is. Are you getting value? Or where should the business be deploying those applications? How do you deploy them into that optimized cloud infrastructure appropriately? How are you improving your execution and building those out? And so this is one of the areas where the AMP program can come in, and there's some funding around really funding for qualified opportunities. I have to probably clarify that, but the idea is that we want to help help starting to accelerate our customers getting those workloads into the cloud, those applications into the cloud, and really going from walking with the cloud to running. And again, our focus with our customers is where can they get the most value? And it's not about necessarily moving all workloads into the cloud. It's about moving the right workloads into the cloud, establishing. So if the first one is establishing the base, then the second one is more establishing the plan, getting the information that you need, establishing that plan, and then helping action that plan. And again, that's where we have solutions architects that we can work with your teams to help identify what that plan looks like, and then we can help deliver on that. And then even if that's a managed services at the end, where you don't want to have to keep control of the day-to-day or keep the lights on, as they say, we have services to help with that. And then the third one is really the digital velocity. So you've moved these workloads, these applications into the cloud. How do you take those applications? How do you modernize them? How do you really build up a containerized workspace? How do you align the development and the implementation of applications to your agile project methodology, or align with your DevOps teams and your developers so that they are able to make those changes to their applications per their schedule? And really, IT is supporting that. And so again, one of the powerful ways that we help our customers is with we know where you are. we know the struggles that you have, and having come from that background myself on the infrastructure side, we understand a bit the journey and some of the challenges that are going to lay in your path, and then we can help you avoid some of those pitfalls. And again, I think Adam brought up a good point, which is this sort of global knowledge base, and being able to take some of the excellence that we have in other geographies and then help our Canadian customers apply those to their business. And then, around governance, we have risk advisory services that can help with penetration testing. They can help make sure to align that your cloud deployments and the technologies that you're deploying to the cloud align with your internal processes and compliancy, or change those internal compliancy documents to really align with the new requirements. So we can move to the next slide. So when we talk about establishing that foundation, a lot of it is this planning and discovery. We find that as systems and solutions have grown up, it becomes difficult because you don't necessarily know where everything is. And so again, one of the ways that we help our customers is with those assessments, getting in, really digging into what do you have, how does it tie together, what really makes sense to migrate to the cloud, what makes sense to migrate into potentially other services, what makes sense to optimize where it is. And so we definitely help our customers with the migration of services to the cloud, but we can also help optimize in the data center. And so again, the question that was sort of around speeding things up with tooling, with automation, and with orchestration, absolutely. And also keeping in mind that you don't just want to take advantage of the services in the cloud, you also want to do it in your co-location or your data center. So migration planning, really, where we can help our customers put that plan together, put some reasonable timetables and help IT explain to the business, really what's feasible, what can be done over time, how can they approach it, and then assisting with that process so that it's successful. And again, a lot of that effort is focused on making sure that the foundation, that landing zone, the tenant, all of the networking services, the security services, security around your tenant itself, and the authorization attempts to connect to that, making sure that all of that is secure and manageable, from day one. And that's where we help our customers establish that foundation. And then our customers are also some of our customers are already consuming in the cloud. They've already established that, and while we may help remediate, or we may help with compliancy or services, to help support that existing foundation, then some of our customers are in the state where they're just looking to migrate and grow. And so, taking those services that have been identified, moving those services into the cloud, potentially infrastructure as a service at first, but having a game plan and a strategy and a plan to now modernize those applications and take advantage of native cloud services. So when you look at some of your applications, it's going to be advantageous to take advantage of some cloud native services right away, but some applications you'll need to migrate and then revamp, with them in the cloud. So that's, again, where we can help our customers. And then tenant-to-tenant migration, again, there is, and this is another area where tooling and automation and orchestration is extremely important. Is sometimes you're going to deploy services into a cloud, and maybe it's not working appropriately, and you need to migrate to a different cloud, or you need to migrate on premises, or you need to migrate from on premises into that target cloud. And again, that's where we have services. We can help our customers build the plan. We can help our customers execute the plan around migrating those services to the cloud, but also keeping in mind that those services are probably going to grow. And then the third is really accelerating and optimizing. So again, you have those workloads, you've migrated them to the cloud. Really, it's about aligning with the deployment schedule that your developers, your DevOps teams are trying to, really meet they're trying to meet the goals and objectives of the business. And so as an IT team, how can we help support the delivery per the schedule, so that your internal and external customers can take advantage of those tools as quickly as possible. And a lot of that is around, again, automation and being able to manage the configurations rather than the devices, being able to provide security or configuration information to your developers earlier in the process, so that they can take those, include those in their development processes, so that you are not changing things at the last minute as often. and then building out that infrastructure in a modern scenario. So starting to implement cloud native solutions initially, because you have that foundation. You've already moved some of your workloads into the cloud. Now it's really, okay, we're here. Now let's optimize. So changing the existing applications and services, and then also net new applications and services, building those up, and making sure that you have the visibility that you require to manage them appropriately, registering uptime, making sure availability of services is meeting your internal SLAs or OLAs. And then as you go forward, taking that information and making good business decisions. Are you investing in, are you right sizing applications and services? Are you investing, in the right cloud in the right way? Are you leveraging automation and orchestration tools to optimize the costs? So when those services or applications are not busy, making sure that those services and applications are not consuming the maximum possible resources at those times. So if the first stage is really building the foundation, the second stage is really more around taking those services and migrating those services kind of as is in a lot of cases, but doing it in an intelligent way where you're focusing on the appropriate services first. Then the third stage is really optimizing what you have and making sure that what you're implementing is also optimized, take advantage of what the cloud has to offer. So again, we can do this for our customers, you know, at any of those 3 stages. But really, we like to start with assessments. And part of this is you want to know what you want to validate what you know, and you want to learn what you don't know. And so, you know, we do this through a couple of different tools and a couple of different processes. But essentially, if you are familiar with sort of the AWS model of 6 R's, this is how we try to approach. And we know that there are going to be services that we're going to help our customers rehost, and migration to a cloud as is really the preferred method. You know, replatforming or repurposing the application again as needed. And then helping our customers put plans together to make those changes. Again, refactoring, retiring applications is one of my favorite things to do from a data management perspective is deleting data that's no longer business relevant. Again, retiring applications and services that are no longer business relevant is obviously, you know, a cost savings. And then retaining services. Sometimes retaining services in the data center, in the co-location facility, is the best way to go. But a lot of times those can still be optimized, and a lot of times those services can still be, you know, there can still be orchestration, there can still be automation to really make sure that the business is getting the maximum amount of value, you know, with that. So we try to approach this, you know, from a framework perspective, really from sort of the 6 R's, and we'll talk a little bit about assessments and kind of how we use those to help our customers. So our approach is, we know that it's really not feasible to gather all of the technical information with people. It's time consuming. A lot of times there are systems and solutions that are better fit for that. So depending upon what type of opportunity we're working with, we will leverage different tools to do that. So I'm not really going to deep dive into the tools, but the idea is that CDW Canada, when we started an assessment, we are going to run sort of 2 tracks to gather information. The first is gathering technical information with identified tools. Sometimes they're agent-based, sometimes they're agent-less, sometimes they tie into your existing hypervisor systems. But we're going to gather and catalog that information, and we're going to know about those workloads. We're going to know how those workloads interact with each other, what ports they connect with, what types of applications, what types of databases are on the back end, middleware services. And then we're going to couple that with information gathering with your organization. So there's institutional knowledge that your team has. Your team has information around what the applications are, how critical to the business those applications are. And when you couple the information that your team knows with the information that the tooling can gather, really what ends up happening is you combine those and you have insights around what the applications and the footprint of those applications, the workloads and the services that are connecting into each other are, and you know the importance of those various applications to the business. Then you can put together, okay, these applications are a good candidate to rehost, and if you really want to consume cloud resources to service your users with that application, then you can move an infrastructure as a service easily into the cloud, or maybe not. Maybe it needs to be retained where it is, but again, maybe there's things you can optimize where it is. We'll be able to help identify what should be replatformed, what should be moved to the cloud, but maybe cloud native services will really be the better way of doing that. You know, repurchasing, again, maybe there are other solutions and services that you're using as a SaaS model, or maybe you have an application that's already deployed either on premises or in the data center, or sorry, in the cloud, that you should be leveraging instead of that application. And so what we try to do is we try to take that that approach of assessing the applications, helping our customers better understand what they have, and then as you are building that plan on your strategy, how to move forward, taking those applications and being able to put them in each of these different buckets. And then, you know, I think Adam's going to speak a little bit to this, but the real powerful thing is, you know, with the relationship that we have with Microsoft, we have the ability to work with you, work with our AMP program, and really help, you know, drive that value into Azure as a cloud provider.
Yeah. So that essentially summarizes this slide, right? The AMP program is not available to all partners. And it allows for qualified customers, of course, to get free or subsidized technical support, technical skilling, and really to tap into the CDW expertise to then land that migration work. Because through everything you've just shared, it's clear that migrations can be a complicated process, right? And for when you think about Azure, like the Azure itself gets updated on a regular basis. There's always something new, something different, new ways for customers to tweak what they do to optimize their cloud usage. And that's why we have a huge backbone team that specializes on it. That's what they do day in and day out. So they stay up to date on all the changes that are happening within public cloud infrastructure and are able to bring that expertise to these type of engagement. So AMP migration offers are based on project size. It could include a diverse set of workloads, so such as Windows Server, SQL, Linux, open source databases, and more. And again, not to drain this slide, but think about what your migration journey could look like. Think about where are you facing roadblocks and connect with your account manager. Bring those opportunities to us for vetting, right? So the offer can be flexible to meet your need. We would look at your infrastructure, your databases, application, what could move to Azure, and do just go through that exploration with you. Our team is very familiar with the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure. And so for security, governance, data, networking, the design of it all, we have some expertise that customers can tap into. And again, around cost efficiency, we will work with you to determine availability of Microsoft programs that could help you fast track, that could help you remove specific blockers that you're currently facing. And then you have the confidence of knowing that, hey, this partner I'm working with has done this before. They have expertise that I can tap into. And again, KJ mentioned it, we do a lot of knowledge sharing with our customers, because the idea is that as we help you build this house, you're able to open the windows on your own at some point. You're able to make it work for your business need, and that will allow you to build on top of what we initially help you launch within public cloud ecosystem. But that's essentially what we wanted to share. We're not going to drain the program elements because it is very customized. It has different framework for customers to be eligible to. So have a conversation with us. We're available to just help you with this vetting. Any questions through the chat? Anything?
Nope. No questions.
Okay.
No, and just one other thing to sort of add on to that is, I definitely agree with Adam. Reach out to your account managers. We have pre-sales solutions architects, and this is what they love to do. They love to help our customers, get to solutions that meet their business goals and objectives. And so, don't hesitate, reach out. We want to engage, and pre-sales engagement to talk about plans, and we want to learn a little bit more about your business, and you can learn more about what we can provide. Again, those aren't a funded process. That's just what we do. So don't hesitate.
Very cool. With that, I think we can conclude unless there are questions that pop in, and the team will send a follow-up email to just give you all additional data and resources you could leverage. You all should already know your account manager, but if you don't, again, send a response to that follow-up note and we'll point you in the right direction and get you connected with some of our specialists. But we appreciate spending, a few minutes this afternoon with you. We are here to help our customers understand the art of what's possible. So don't hesitate to reach out, and thank you for your time.